Ms. Burks, you claim your former boss got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 4-year-old daughter, Messiah, leaving you in financial distress. You claim today's DNA test will prove that he is Messiah's father. You are joined by your brother, who says he has had to step in and help out. Mr. Smith, you say you are 100% certain you are not her child's biological father, and the truth will be revealed today. So, Ms. Burks, how important are today's results for you and your family?
Well, this situation is very, very important. It's so important that when I go back home, it might not be a possibility that I might not have a home for my daughter. So this situation is very, very important.
And so you are raising your daughter by yourself?
Yes, I am.
You've had no help from Mr. Smith?
No.
Messiah is 4 years old.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
She's beautiful. Mr. Smith?
Yes,
she says she needs your help.
Well, I was under assumptions for a long amount of time that Messiah was not my child.
Okay.
And I was told that by the plaintiff.
You were told that by the plaintiff?
Yes.
Ms. Burks, did you tell?
No, that's not true. And I never told him that he'd never be the father at all.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Wright, what would you like to add?
Okay, now this guy, he's telling the story. Like, this is the guy that she was with all the time. So, like, how could you just up and say that? Like, come on now. It looked just like him.
Can I say
Are you
something?
serious?
Well, yes, she was with me all the time because she worked with me.
We were still together without working.
When she stays still together, she mean we was in the same place together. We were never together.
You're saying you were never in a
We
relationship?
was never in a relationship.
What was this?
We worked together, and one time we had sex. I was
It wasn't no
thirsty.
one time, Your Honor. He lying. It wasn't no time. It was more than one time. Way before I even had Messiah, it was maybe 1 or 2 years, way before I even had Messiah, we had sex. And it was off and on in the last year or two.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor. No, I was working for him for a period of time as well. When I go home, them guys would still be at work. They'd be like spending the nights together. So,
Yeah.
Can I respond to that?
I would like that.
Okay. Reason why, Your Honor, she would spend nights at my home was because now my business was in my home. So there was also another male partner who stayed in my home as well, spent just as much time.
He stayed upstairs. He wasn't in the house. He stayed upstairs, so he don't even know what was going on.
So he was your boss. How did you end up getting into a sexual relationship with your boss?
Well, one day after work, we had a couple of drinks. He asked me for a massage. He started massaging my back. I massage his. One thing led to
He asked you for a massage and he ended up massaging you?
That's incorrect, Your Honor. What happened was, one day we was together. We all got drunk after a day of work. She asked me, can she spend a night in my home? And she asked to massage my back and my feet.
He lying, Messiah. That's
because
a lie. That's a lie.
Okay.
Did you let all your employees massage your back and your feet, Mr. Smith?
No.
No, I did not let all the employees massage my back and feet because it was actually only 3 of us who was in my home at the time. All the other employees were outside field reps. Nobody else was in our inner circle of hanging out together.
So was this part of the job description, or were you just trying to flirt with her at that point?
At that point in that time, I was drunk, and yes, I flirted with her at that time.
It wasn't he was drunk. He know what the heck he was doing. It wasn't no drunk.
So, Mr. Smith, your testimony is that this was a one-time thing, or was this an ongoing sexual relationship with an employee?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. This was a one-time thing.
It wasn't a one-time.
After work with an employee, after we all had a long day, and we had some drinks.
Why such a discrepancy, though? She says it was ongoing for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
You say it was only one time.
Because for that 2-year span, when she was saying that was this supposedly relationship, she was literally telling our friends and coworkers that I was her boyfriend.
That's not true. That's not true at all. That's not
To
true.
the fact-
They was assuming that we was together because we been together. We would be together all the time. So they assumed that.
Mr. Wright, let me ask you. You said you also worked for Mr. Smith for a period of time.
I did, yes, sir.
How long?
I say maybe a couple months.
And during the time you worked for him, did you have an occasion to see your sister be involved, go out with him?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, they was together all the time.
We've never went on a date.
No.
Never.
It don't have
Your
to
Honor.
necessarily be a date.
It wasn't
to
never no
go.
date, but we it's his, like you said, the home. He was at his home. We go chill at his house.
Your Honor, she's trying to build it up as if I was doing something special or something by inviting her to my home and her being with me on
You're saying that she was elevating the stakes, that this was not what it was, that you were just co-workers, you had one night of indiscretion,
Yes, Your
and it
Honor.
was just that.
Yes, Your
But
Honor.
Ms.
If it
Burks,
was,
you said,
Your Honor, we didn't just have sex one time, Your Honor, and there go Messiah, and I didn't know who their father is. It wasn't never that. I was dealing with this man 1 or 2 years way before Messiah came along.
if you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. When you found out Miss Burks was pregnant, how did that go?
I congratulated her because she told me her and her boyfriend at the time, who she was dating, was having a child. So it was a regular day at work.
That's not true.
It was a regular day at work, Your Honor.
That's not true, Your Honor.
So
How did you tell Mr. Smith you were pregnant?
meaning I already knew she was pregnant.
He did know I was pregnant, but why would you ask me again
Did you
if the baby was yours?
Did you originally tell him that it was your ex-boyfriend's child?
No, I told him, yeah, I did. Yes, I did. I did.
Okay, now we remember.
Thank you.
I did.
So, Mr. Smith,
Yes, Your
she
Honor.
comes over and she tells you, I'm pregnant with my ex-boyfriend's child. We're going to have a baby together.
And
No.
Congratulations.
No.
I'm like, good
That's
for
not
you.
it. No.
It's good to see that, you know, that you and your boyfriend is getting together.
It's 4 years later. How did 4 years go by without this getting resolved?
He didn't ever. I don't think he didn't ever want to do it. I did want to do it. I mean, I was nervous and everything, but I wanted to. He didn't want it.
Your Honor, I will admit that I did not push to find out if the child was mine as much as I should have in hindsight. But this young lady came to me and told me at the time that this was not my child.
Look at her. She looks just like him.
Your Honor, the only reason that that is an issue is because the gentleman who she was with at the time is very similar to my exact features as well.
Well,
No, he don't
was
look
tall
nothing
and
like
he a
her.
little darker than him.
Right, he don't look nothing
Way a
like
little
her.
darker than him. The baby do not look nothing like
No,
him.
he don't
Look
look-
at her.
So let
The
me
nose,
ask
the
you
mouth,
this, Ms.
everything.
Burke. You said there is a potential that
Yeah.
there's another man that could be Messiah's biological father. Where is he?
Well, he's not around.
Does he want to be a part of her life?
Not at all,
sure.
Your Honor. She came to me with the story when she eventually told me that he's not gonna help her with it. She basically told me that he was like, I'm not finna be dealing with you, bye.
That's not true.
She had me and all our employees before. She even came to me and told me about that, hey, this child could be yours. She had all of us believing that was his, and she had him believe.
Oh my God, that's not true.
Like I said before, she was always with him.
It wasn't no
So,
one-time
Your
thing.
Honor,
It
yes,
never was no
she
one-time
was-
thing.
So Messiah is now 4 years old. Have you developed any type of a relationship with her?
Yes, Your Honor. I've had Messiah in my home several times living with me.
Really?
Yes, because of Ms. Burks' inability to keep a safe environment for Messiah. And the reason why I did that, under the idea that I was still thinking that she wasn't mine, is because I did not want to see the child go through the same situation Ms. Burks did.
Why would you
Why would you do that if you think you wasn't the
Because
father?
I did not want the child to be stuck with you.
That's it.
That's the truth, Your
Stuck
Honor.
with you.
Right.
And so you would have Messiah at your home. You would just be taking care of her on your own?
Yes.
For how long at a time?
That's a
And,
lie.
and inklings of easily 6 to 4 months, 6
That's a
to
lie.
8
That's
months.
a doggone
Your Honor.
lie,
That's a lie.
man. That's a doggone
Your
lie.
Honor, Your Honor, I would have the child with me for, I want to say, weeks before I would have Miss Burks come to me and say something like, hey, if you don't let me stay with you, then I'm going to take Messiah.
That's not true. That's not true.
So you believe she was using Messiah to get back in to be able to stay at your home?
Not only stay at my home, but the plaintiff has it really bad for me, almost stalkerish.
That's not true.
Yes, she was with me all the time.
And he know, even my ex know.
And you wasn't working all the time.
Yes,
Right,
she
and we-
was
right.
with me all the time. Multiple reasons. One, she would get kicked out of everywhere she stayed. So she would come and knock on my door 2
All
o'clock,
the time.
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in
That's
the morning,
lie. That's
several
lie.
times.
That's lie.
Two,
That's
the
lie.
company that I owned and I ran out of my home. So all my employees would be there, all our friends would be there, before work, after work, during work. 3, the place where we did our job was literally a block away from my home. So after work, during work, paperwork pickup, us just, hey, I'm too tired right now, everyone would go to my home. When she stated about the gentleman staying upstairs in my home, it was because I lived in a 6-unit building and I had access to all the units, so I gave the gentleman upstairs an apartment. I offered her an apartment as well.
That's not true. No. That's not true.
Oh
at
my
all.
goodness.
That's not
You all have not agreed on one thing.
No, that's not true. Everything he said is a lie.
That's not true.
He's
That's not true
a
at all.
good liar.
Goodness
manipulate.
gracious.
Come on, man.
I mean,
truth,
everything he states, you say that's not true.
It's
Everything you state, he says that's not true.
He's a great liar. I don't see how he could sit in front of a judge and lie like that.
Who is Messiah calling daddy?
Me, the reason, Your Honor, she called me daddy is because when she can't, or when she falls down, I've always been the one there to get and
Yeah,
take
off
them
and
out of the
on.
situation.
Mr. Smith, you say Messiah calls you daddy.
Yes,
Have you stepped up to the plate consistently?
consistently.
Okay, so if you have, and she's 4 years old, why now? Why contest it all now?
2 reasons. One, I've just made a move to Arizona to start a new life that I have.
Okay.
With your other girlfriend.
With-
With his other
Yes.
girlfriend, right, and her kids staying with his mother's house. Come on now.
No, we are not in my mother's
His cousin's house.
No,
It's
we're
not
in my
his.
cousin's house.
It's not his.
And you
Your
stayed with
Honor.
us
It's not
numerous
his.
of times.
He
Your
stayed
Honor.
with us.
Okay, listen, Mr. Smith, you doing all this. You stepping in to save Miss Burks. You're taking Messiah in when you feel like she doesn't have a place to live.
Yes.
You say you stepped up consistently.
Always.
The child calls you daddy.
Yes.
What in the world? You got all of this going on.
Yes.
And yet you still deny paternity.
I was getting to the second part of that, Your Honor. The second part of the reason, again, is because now that I started my life with the young lady who I'm dating now, she has a daughter as well. And they're starting to get confusion as in dealing with the daughter, as in dealing with the young lady who I'm dating now.
That's what hurt me about it. He haven't been in that child's life. And like me, I haven't had a child in my life, and my father in my life. He was off and on in my life. And I don't want to make the same mistake as having Messiah not having a father in her life. It hurts me because I don't want her to be in the same predicament as me. I used to cry off and on because I'm scared that I didn't know who the father is, and she and I never know who her father is while growing up. So it hurts me. He gonna go back to Arizona and live his life as his girlfriend, her daughter.
What you're fearing is that he's moving on with his life and he's going to sever ties with Messiah.
Yeah.
Okay. The only way we are going to get down to the bottom of this and figure out how we can move forward is to get the results. And I have them. Jerome?
There you go, Your Honor. You're welcome.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Burks versus Smith, when it comes to 4-year-old Messiah Burks, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Smith, you are not her father.
I'm sorry, excuse me. What?
You are not her father, sir.
I've grown to love this young lady. I'm still gonna help take care of Messiah.
Mr. Smith, I can see that this is making you emotional.
I'm sorry, man. That's all I can say. I'm sorry.
Because I raised this girl. She looked like that, she act like that because I installed those things in her.
I'm sorry I could not give you a different answer, Mr.
Sorry.
You say you're still gonna be there for Messiah, and that's a beautiful thing. And it's not gonna be an easy road, but you can do it. Mr. Flowers, you have brought your ex-girlfriend to court today to prove that you are not the biological father of her 2-month-old daughter, Callie.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you were duped into naming the baby and signing her birth certificate, and now the DNA test will prove your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Diaz, you claim that it was Mr. Flowers' jealousy and insecurity that drove you to have sex with another man, but you are confident that Mr. Flowers is your daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, waiting in the hallway is Mr. Bowman, the man you cheated with, who Mr. Flowers believes is Callie's dad. Mr. Flowers, please tell the court why you've claimed a baby for 2 months who you don't believe is really yours.
I gave her my name, so like Callie, then my last name, Flowers.
You've actually bonded with Callie. You named her.
Man, yes. Every time I walk in the room, she smile. Like, daddy is here. Like, oh, my daddy is here, She smile, like, big smile. She loved me. She really loved me. So it's like, I can't imagine Callie not being mine.
But you have doubt.
Yeah, I have doubt. Everybody gonna have doubt if you're sleeping around.
And now, you believe Mr. Bowman is Callie's biological father.
I believe it. But it's more to the story she actually talking about. She liked to creep around. When I get her mad, she liked to slither away. She give me this some type of attitude like, oh, I don't want to be with you. We never gonna work. Except for standing still and saying, hey, let's try to make this work. Stop trying to go to the next man and find love, because your love is right here.
So as you stand here today, do you still love Ms. Diaz?
Yes, well on my heart.
So Ms. Diaz, you say you have no doubt.
No, Your Honor.
Why is that? Explain.
The doctor confirmed the time of conception was around the time that I had sex with Mr. Flowers. We were the only 2 people together at that time, which was the first week of August, and there could be no other possibility but Mr. Flowers.
So tell me about the nature of this relationship.
Me and Mr. Flowers have an off and on relationship, a very rocky relationship. Met up again after high school about 3 years ago. Although we love each other, we don't get along. We're like oil and water. We fight, bicker all the time, and we're better off just as friends.
And so, is this true, Mr. Flowers?
Yes,
On and
it's true.
off,
Yes.
oil and water?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how do you see the relationship? Were you committed?
I try my best. I feel like if somebody lied to me the first time, you lost my trust, straight up. And I'm just being honest. I try to give her a chance after chance after chance, but I feel like I was working too hard, and she wasn't putting enough effort in.
And when you say she wasn't putting enough effort, explain that.
You know how you could feel that love is in the air at first, but then again, it's like kind of drifting away because she's talking to another person? You could feel that. Just imagine if you was in my shoes. You know what I'm saying? What would you think, and how would you feel if you was in love with 2 guys? You'd be confused too.
And so you feel like that's what she is in love with 2 people?
Yes.
And that's how you end up here in this courtroom.
Yes, Your Honor.
Believing you're not Callie's father because you believe this other gentleman, Mr. Bowman, is.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about this doubt. I want to know specifically why you doubt that you're Callie's biological father.
Because, let's be honest, she sleep around. She sleep around. So, in my head, it's like, do you want me to be there because I'm going to be there and I'm going to be the good father? Or are you just going to use me because you can't find these other dudes to be the father?
So you think she's saying you're the father because you're the steady Eddie?
True story.
So, Ms. Diaz, he says you were sleeping around. Were you? Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is. And why are you convinced then that Mr. Flowers is your child's biological father if you admittedly were having sex with more than one person?
Well, I was in a rough time in my life at that time. I just felt like Mr. Flowers wasn't giving me the support I needed emotionally or financially for us to be able to make a relationship work. I'm sure that he's the father because I was only with him during the time of conception.
And you submitted a calendar to the court?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at that. And so outlined in green are the days your doctor designated as the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that would be August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Moving on, where there's a blue X are the dates that you were intimate with Mr. Flowers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this correct, Mr. Flowers? Is this timeline accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. In orange are the dates you were intimate with Mr. Bowman.
Yes, Your Honor.
That would be the 8th, 9th, and 10th of August, which is the very next week.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, that's pretty close. Did you tell the doctor that you had also had sex with another person the very next week?
No, Your Honor. When I first found out that I was pregnant and I called him on his birthday.
You called to tell somebody on their birthday that you're pregnant, but it might not be yours?
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize
That's
at
what
the
you
time.
heard on your birthday that year, Mr. Flowers?
I was partying, you know what I'm saying? Like, then I get this call. I was like, I haven't saw this number in a while. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what she want. You know what I'm saying? Probably want to kick it, probably remember it's my birthday or something. And she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what?
And so when she said this to you, did she say, and you're the father, or you are one of the potential fathers?
She said one of the potential fathers. She came straight with me. Like, she was honest with me with that.
Ms. Diaz, did you also tell Mr. Bowman that he was a potential father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was his reaction?
He said, well, if that's the case, we'll get a paternity test, and we'll figure it out, and we'll go from there.
And so how does it get to the point where you decide to jump on board and end up naming the baby?
Because I got, emotional. I always wanted another child, 2 kids, And I wanted to be the father my father never been to me. To prove it to him, like, I am a better man than you. You know what I'm saying?
So you were actually at Callie's birth.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And were you involved at all during the pregnancy? Did you go to doctor's appointments?
No, ma'am.
No,
But
not
you
a single
came
one.
to-
Not
the
a
birth.
single one.
So during the pregnancy, you were with Mr. Bowman.
Me and Mr. Bowman were friends.
And so during the pregnancy, he was around?
Hold up. What? Just friends? Nah, you didn't tell me all that. Y'all was saying, oh, we were this and that. He made me feel good. And
Me and Mr. Bowman were never in
Yo,
a
man.
official relationship.
But during the pregnancy, you were with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
But then at the birth, Mr. Flowers was there.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why wasn't Mr. Bowman at the birth?
Because I'm 100% sure that Mr. Flowers is Callie's father, based upon the time of conception.
You know why he wasn't there? I'm going to tell you the truth. Because they fell off.
You signed the birth certificate?
Yes, I did. Because I stepped up like a man.
So now you understand that under the law, in the eyes of the law, you are her legal father.
Yes, I
And
know
you
that.
understand if, in fact, you're found not to be her biological father, you will have to return home and attempt to get your name removed.
All right.
Ms. Diaz, has Mr. Bowman done anything for Callie? Is he a part of her life?
Mr. Bowman has always been in my life when I needed him. He has provided diapers when Mr. Flowers cannot.
I thank him for that. Because I was going through a rough time myself. You know what I'm saying? I give much respect to him. Mad respect.
Jerome, I think it's time we meet Mr. Bowman.
Okay.
Bring him in.
Hello, sir. Come with me. I'm going to bring you right up to the witness stand next to the judge. Go on the left of me.
Mr. Bowman, thank you for being here
Yes, ma'am.
today. We are here, of course, talking about the paternity as it relates to brand new baby, Callie. Ms. Diaz has admitted in court today that she was intimate with you and with Mr. Flowers about a week apart. Are you aware that you are one of the potential fathers?
Yes, ma'am, I'm aware.
Do you believe Callie is your child?
No, ma'am, I do not.
You don't?
No, ma'am.
You did have sex with her, right?
We did have sex.
Without protection?
Without protection.
You understand that's how babies are made. You do?
Yeah, I do.
So I want you to explain to me, why is it you believe this child can't be yours?
During the time when the baby was conceived, when me and Miss Mia had sex, I didn't climax.
Oh, well, I walked myself into that, didn't I, Jerome? So this was one occasion that you all had sex
No, ma'am,
without protection.
It was multiple occasions. I can tell you that the first few times when we had sex, right around the time when the baby was presumably conceived, I didn't climax.
Okay, so you're saying the act did not finish, so you believed you couldn't potentially be the father because of that. And Ms. Diaz, you did tell him, though, that there's a chance he could be the father.
Just slight chance.
And there ain't no such thing as slight chance, you feel me? So no matter what you go through, you don't know what happened.
Right. I think what you're trying to state, which is true, Mr. Flowers, is without even the finishing, it is still possible to conceive a child.
Yeah.
What I think is obvious is that you have two men here that you slept with in very close proximity.
Yes.
And then when you told your doctor about the facts relating to the conception, you left Mr. Bowman's dates off the calendar.
Yes, Sean.
And so the doctor was only giving you information based upon?
My story.
Right. And so this day means a lot to you,
Oh,
these
yeah,
results.
this is a major day. One, because I always wanted a daughter. And two, I am a good father.
So the truth is, while you're standing here trying to prove you're not the father, the real truth is you really would love to be her.
Oh, man, I would. If she mine, I would get down on my knees and cry. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my daughter. I've been with her. Changed diapers, middle of the night. When she didn't feel like getting up, I'm the first one up. Even if I go to work, I still, like 2 hours, need to go to work, but still bond with her. That's my daughter. You know what I'm saying? That's my daughter.
And Mr. Bowman, your relationship with Callie is what exactly?
I really don't have a relationship with Callie.
You don't?
No, man. I know Callie, and been aware of her since she was born. I say about the first 7, 8 months of the pregnancy, I was there for her. I was the one rubbing her feet, rubbing her back, making sure she had finances.
So what happened after that time where you just backed off?
Well, it was understood that there was a strong possibility that the baby wasn't mine, so I had to give a potential father a true shot.
Understood. Are you hoping she's your child?
I'm just hoping for closure. If Callie's my child, then I'm gonna step up and be a father.
Ms. Diaz, has anything happened in court today that changes your belief that Mr. Flowers is in fact Callie's biological child?
No, Your Honor. I'm 100% sure he's her biological father.
I think it's time for the results. Jerome? Thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Flowers versus Diaz, as it pertains to 2-month-old Callie Flowers, and whether Mr. Flowers or Mr. Bowman is the biological father, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Flowers, you are not the father. Mr. Bowman, you are not the father. Ms. Diaz, Is there something else missing from the calendar?
The week after I was intimate with another guy, in July, I was living with another guy.
Ms. Diaz, that would make 4 different men you slept with within a span of a possible conception period?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's hard for me to stand over here and look at a beautiful young girl like you. You just giving yourself away for free. I don't know what you out there looking for, but it's not this. Do you know where these other 2 men are?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, that's still my daughter. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It hurts, but in my heart, that is my daughter.
In your heart and in the eyes of the law.
Yes.
Because you signed that birth certificate.
Oh, and I'm glad I did it. Because I don't want her to grow up without a father like I did.
For someone you can't get along with. At the end of the day, you blessed to have him. Miss King, you are here to prove to your on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mr. Porter, that your 3-year-old son, Kylan, is his biological child. You say his denial has destroyed your relationship and you need today's results to set the record straight. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Porter, you state that you have always wanted kids but believe you are medically unable to father children and therefore Kylan is not your biological son. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. King, describe the current status of your relationship with Mr. Porter and why today's results are so important.
Me and George at the moment are co-parenting. The reason why the reason why he is the father of my son is because I just know that he's the father. I'm 100% sure he's the only person that I've been with.
That sounds scientific. Okay.
He's the only person that I've been with, and my son deserves to have a father listed on his birth certificate.
And so you feel like he isn't stepping up?
Yes. No, he's not.
Are you not stepping up, Mr. Porter?
It's not the fact that I'm not stepping up. It's just the fact that I have doubt in my mind if I'm the father. When we was together, we was, had our problems off and on. And when we broke up, I went back to New York. And I was dating someone else at the time. And then when we came back down here from New York, the female I was talking to at the time and Miss King, they were exchanging text messages between each other. And Celicia told the other female that she was pregnant. And when I found out, I went to Celicia myself. I said, "Are you pregnant?" She said, "Yes, she was." I said, "Okay," so I decided to rekindle our relationship due to the fact that it might be my child.
So wait, I want to understand what's happening in this relationship, just to be clear. So you all were in a relationship.
Right.
So at some point you break up.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you break up, you say you go back to New York.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you go to New York, you get a new girlfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then what happens when you find out you're pregnant, Miss King?
I told him that I was pregnant, but I really wasn't pregnant.
Oh! Now, all right, Mr. Porter. So then Miss King admits she lied and said she was pregnant. What happens? She tells you you're pregnant. What happened?
At the time, she told me she was pregnant, so I believed her. Decided, because I didn't have my father in my life, I decided I'm gonna step up to the plate regardless. So I was there throughout the whole everything. But maybe about a month after her telling me she was pregnant, she walked in the room with a pregnancy test and she was just waving it around like she was pregnant. So I'm like, I was confused. Then I started to think like, how you pregnant? Like if a month went by and you now I'm pregnant, I was confused, like, I can't be the father, like that don't make no sense. That right there started off my doubt, like, hold up.
So you thought she had been with another guy
Yeah.
and was really trying to pin the baby on you
Right, because-
or either trap you with
That's
this
not
baby
even-
because
that's
she
not the
wanted to
case.
stay with you.
Right.
That's not the case. That is not the case. The case is the fact that when we first started dating, I just knew that I wanted to be with him. He was the genuine type. When I seen him with someone else, it's just like, that's supposed to be us. That's not supposed to be y'all. So I told him I was pregnant. And eventually I was going to tell him that I wasn't pregnant, but during that time that I was going to tell him that I wasn't pregnant, I actually found out that I was pregnant.
Because you was really trying to get pregnant because you knew
I
you had
basically
lied.
tried to get
Go on,
pregnant,
just
yeah.
tell the truth, girl. We already know what happened. You worked real hard at that.
Yeah.
Because you had already lied.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you were pregnant, but he doesn't believe that.
No, he doesn't believe it.
How you pregnant?
But you didn't even know I was lying about my pregnancy until recently. I just came out clear and told you I even lied about being pregnant during that time.
Right.
But you did let him know that you lied. I mean, once you lie, that erodes the trust. Once you lie and someone catches you in a lie, everything you say, you looking going, is he lying? Is she lying? That's just how it works. That's what trust is about.
She told me last night that she was, when we broke up, around the time she was pregnant, like when we broke up, she was messing with someone else. You know what I mean? And I just found
And that's
this out.
because he was
So
still dealing
just
with the
last
other girl.
night, she dropped the bomb
Right.
and said,
That she
when
was
you
pregnant.
were off with the other girl,
Right.
she was messing with somebody else.
Correct.
So, sounds like she was coming clean before she got to court, right, Jerome?
That's absolutely true.
Look, it's gonna all come out here. I always say if it don't come out in the wash, it's coming out in the dry, or it's coming out in paternity court.
Yes.
Right.
So, Miss King, you were with another guy?
I was, because when I found out that he was still dating her, he would sometimes like break up with me and decide like, I don't want to be with you anymore. Just find like little scenarios to pick over to say that he doesn't want to be with me so that he can go back to the girl. So when he would do that, I would go back and I would talk to my past relationship.
But you told Mr. Porter he's the biological father of Kylan.
Yeah.
But you're admitting you were sleeping with somebody else because you were on the tit for tat track. Every time he went over to his other person, you'd go back to your old person.
Yes.
Okay, Miss King, you doing too much. I mean, now right now, Mr. Porter is standing over here, and I mean, nobody's perfect, but he's at least being a stand-up guy.
And I do admit that I'm wrong.
On so many levels.
That goes to further my doubt.
I was,
You know, like.
Exactly. Did you ever tell any other man that they potentially could be the father?
No, George was the only person that I was sleeping around the time that I got pregnant.
The whole time, when she was pregnant, like in the hospital, you know, giving birth to Kylan, she was like, you could say drained, tired, you know, so she went to sleep. And when she went to sleep, her phone started to go off. So I say, you know, I'm a curious guy, you know. Why am I
Curious?
Something like that. I'm like, why am I
Curious George.
That's what they call me sometimes. That's what they call me.
Curious George Porter. So what did you do, Mr. Porter?
I grabbed the phone and I seen some text messages between her and another guy. So that right there was like.
But why were you going through my phone? We're not together.
So wait a minute. This is a picture of you in the hospital.
Correct. When he was first born. When he was first born, I was the first one to hold him.
You look just like a dad holding their beautiful newborn baby. But what were you thinking?
If he was mine.
That's heartbreaking.
The whole time, I was telling her that I didn't believe he was mine. As I presented to the courtroom, I have text messages showing of what her and the fellow was talking about before
and
this picture was taken.
And you submitted those text messages to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's take a look. This is your recollection of the text exchange. Ms. King writes, in the hospital about to have the baby. The other man responds, cool, is George signing the birth certificate? Ms. King responds, no, he doesn't want to be responsible. Other man says, I will sign the birth certificate. Ms. King says, okay, great.
It was just a joke. It was just a joke.
It was just a joke?
Yes.
If any man read those text messages, and truth be told, when you're in a real relationship, he should have been able to have your phone in hand so he can say, look, baby's almost here, we doing this is it, I'm sending pictures as soon as I get it. Like, to me, you got this man just around trying to be a stand-up guy for a child he really doesn't know is his, and he has good reason not to. You gave it to him. What are you feeling in this moment?
Because my son deserves to have a father.
I agree. But it's not the father you choose because it's the person you want to be the father. It's the father that truly is his biological father. Now, you can, of course, have father figures. People can step in and play the role of dad. But I know what you're saying. You say you want your son to have his biological father, but what you're testifying to is you basically have just decided it's Mr. Porter. And that's not how it works.
George is the father.
Your Honor, she's told me that she trapped me with Kylie.
I have proof that he's the father. My son is actually a little vertically challenged. I have a chart that I created. Would you like me to show it to you?
All right. Please step up to the podium and explain your exhibit to the court.
As you can see, the average male is actually 5'9". George is 5'2". Each time that I take my son to the doctor to get his wellness checks, he actually falls between the lower percentile of height-wise. The average child is 3'2" through 3'5". My son is 3 feet. Me and George both are short, so it's guaranteed that my son is going to be short.
Is that what you walked over here to say?
Yes.
We'll just say that that's a little bit of evidence, right?
Yes.
The truth is, you could have had sex with another short man. If you want to rely on short.
Your Honor, at the same token, I have a medical problem, and I presented it to the court. When I was a child, I was diagnosed with the second highest case of lead poisoning in the state of New York.
Really?
Right. And I'm 26 right now, and I have never had any children at all until this situation. So I was confused at the same time.
Because you believe the lead poisoning affected your ability
to have children.
To have children.
Yes, ma'am.
You actually submitted.
Yeah, I submitted the article.
Some research to the court that says lead may be the cause of 20% of unexplained male infertility cases. Experts found evidence that low-level lead exposure from contaminants may damage sperm and contribute to male infertility.
Yes, ma'am.
So you've done your research.
Yes, ma'am.
And I understand that because of this medical issue, you probably have been concerned about this throughout your life.
Yes, yes. Because I wanted children for a while. I wanted children. He smiles when I walk into the room. You know, his face lights up, you know, so like I said, I just want to know for sure that he's mine or not. You know
and that's understandable. But one thing that interested me, and I will say your research was fascinating.
Right.
And I'd like to learn more about the effects of lead poisoning. So I'm calling on Dr. Samantha Brown Parks. Jerome, will you please escort the doctor into the courtroom? Yes. I have a few questions for her.
Hello, doctor. Have you go up to the witness stand. Watch your step.
Hi, Dr. Brown Parks.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us again. We're here discussing the paternity of baby Kylan. And I have a question. Mr. Porter testified that he suffered from one of the highest cases of lead poisoning in the state of New York.
Yes,
Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Since Mr. Porter was diagnosed as a child, how likely that this diagnosis still would affect in his adulthood his ability to father a child?
So, since I'm assuming that you are no longer at a toxic level, it wouldn't affect the sperm shape or mobility, but because you're developing as a child and that genital tract is forming during that lead exposure, you could mess with not only the structure of what's there, but also the hormonal path that leads to producing sperm after puberty.
Which would then extend into adulthood. So even though his levels may be safe, low, or non-existent now, the damage could have already been done.
The damage could have been done as a young child.
Wow. But is it definitive? Meaning, is it still possible he could have fathered a child?
It is absolutely possible as well.
Okay. So after hearing Dr. Brown Parks' testimony, Mr. Porter, do you feel differently about your potential
No, ma'am, I don't. I still feel the same way. I just need to know for sure if he's mine or not, you know?
I understand. And I have those results for you. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of King versus Porter, when it comes to 3-year-old Kylan Porter, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Porter, you are the father. Congratulations.
I'm happy. I'm super happy right now.
You look happy.
Ms. King, I want to apologize to the way I carry myself throughout all of this. You know what I mean? I can't change the world, but I could change me and how I move and my movement, you know? So, at the end of the day, I'm his father, but I'm gonna do more. And I'm gonna step up to the plate more than I'm already doing.
I accept your apology, and I knew he was yours.
Are you all together now or no?
No, we're co-parenting.
You're just co-parenting,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So even though you're not a couple anymore, it's important that you all establish trust. And that means, Ms. King, for you, telling the truth.